All right, perfect. Thank you, Rebecca, for having me. Let's quickly get started. Let me just take a moment to share my screen and we should be good to go. So, topic of the day, hacking the data layer for AI with Filecoin. That's the entire theme of this hackathon and the sole purpose of why this hackathon is being organized. So, more focus on how can we build a data layer for AI with Filecoin. So a little bit of my introduction. So I'm developer advocate at Fill Builders, that is FIL-B. I also have been part of like various hackathons and have been won it like 19 times. So 19 is like the hackathon winner. That's what I've done. And I have a pretty awesome story that my career started as one of the hackathon participant, and it feels good to be here right in front of you all. So that's some sort of motivation you can take forward for the next 4 weeks and build some cool projects during this time. Cool. So what's the goal for today? Firstly, we have a mixed crowd over here, someone who is like completely aware about like how Filecoin operates, but there are other groups as well, like who is just getting started with what is IPFS, what is Filecoin, and what are the various decentralized storage concepts. So we would try to understand them first. Then later on, we will experiment around exploring a complete machine learning pipeline that we are going to build on Filecoin. And what are the next steps would be, like what can be built more on top of this. So it would be a very basic example, and then the challenge would be there that you need to build something ultra creative on top of the base pipeline we would be building today. And you can always like innovate with your own ideas. So why do we need decentralized storage for AI? As of today, we everybody know that the AI models depends upon the data it is fed with. If the data goes wrong, your AI model would be performing terribly wrong. So why IPFS and Filecoin, the decentralized storage solutions, can help address such problem statements. The very basic characteristics of which like IPFS and Filecoin provides are resilience and fault tolerance, and it addresses the content not by where it is located, but why what the exact content is. So that's what the content addressing system means like. Then we have like data sovereignty and ownership. So this is the very important problem statement which we have as of today. Like with along with the data privacy, people are talking about data ownership and providing this incentivization to back to the data owner. So that's very important. So that's what again Filecoin can handle for you. Another thing is censorship resistance. At times, the data needs to be very crucial, and it shouldn't be like suppressed by centralized bodies. So for your AI model to like be behind even like overcome the barriers, like maybe it shouldn't be like centralized, it should give transparent answers to it, and it should not be like biased. So censorship resistance is something which IPFS and Filecoin overcomes, and that's what can be addressed over here. So lastly, the whole aim of like Filecoin is like creating a decentralized storage marketplace. And with the rise of AI, we would also aim to create a decentralized dataset storage market as well. Next up is comparison between like IPFS and Filecoin. Now, given that we already have a strong distributed system like IPFS, that is Interactive Planet's file system, why do we need Filecoin, right? So this comparison can help you understand like how IPFS handles the thing and how this Filecoin handles the thing. For first one, IPFS is built for decentralized file sharing and retrieval, but Filecoin is built on top of it for reliable and permanent decentralized storage, along with providing incentivization to the storage providers in the network. Then what are the storage mechanisms for IPFS? So it allows you to store files across network of nodes. But with Filecoin, you can do the same thing and provide like select store files on particular node that provide storage with some sort of incentivization. So you make sure that you pay something for a given period of time, and your files are now stored securely. Now, the same goes with like incentivization. There's no sort of incentivization provided to the storage providers for IPFS, but that's not the case with Filecoin. With Filecoin, the storage providers receive incentivization in terms of like the native cryptocurrency, that is field tokens. Then data persistent. Now on IPFS, you cannot guarantee that your data would be stored permanently forever. Why would someone store your data for free, right? That might be a question or a bell that is ringing in your mind. So that's the very solution, like how Filecoin addresses it with the incentivization. Now, the storage provider can help you store the data over a longer period of time. So now there are a couple of solutions on IPFS which allows you to get faster retrieval, and you can get your data persistence by various binning services like Pinata and Infura. But with Filecoin, you have a better solutions, like we already seen like a few minutes back, like the solutions like Akave, Storaja, Lighthouse, as well as we have eStore as well, that allows you to build on-chain data deal solutions. So all the solutions can help you to store your data for a longer period of time on Filecoin. So given that we have this many solutions, we can now have a look at how exactly this storage solution got evolved from IPFS to Filecoin. So IPFS is the beneath layer which lies below Filecoin, and it is peer-to-peer network that helps you store the data. Now comes layer 0, which is Filecoin, the storage layer. And then on top of it, like a couple of years back, Filecoin virtual machine came into the picture, which allows you now to store or like create a programmatic storage, which means that now you can create or like launch on-chain data deals with the storage provider. So you don't need to go off-chain, everything can happen on-chain, and that's what FBM provides you. And now the latest talk of town is like IPC, which allows you to build like performant dApps with chain scalability, faster speed and faster performance. So the agenda for today is like deep learning workflow with Filecoin. So what we are exactly going to do is build a full deep learning workflow using Filecoin. And as of now, we are going to use Lighthouse storage. But like as we have seen in previous sessions, that you are feel free to make use of any on-ramp storage solution service provider, for example, like Akave, Storaja, and others as well. So how does this idea like came into picture is like recently like DeepSeek made some amazing noise in the AI industry, and the entire DeepSeek model is as of now stored on Filecoin, which you can access from Filecoin, download it and play around with it. So same idea goes to why not have the AI models being deployed on Filecoin blockchain environment. So what we are going to do is source and upload dataset to Filecoin, then train the deep neural network on top of that particular dataset, then upload the trained model back to Filecoin for anybody to access. And then lastly, we would query the trained model. So that's going to be the rough flow for today. So are we doing it? Hell yes, we are going to do that. And we have various on-ramp service providers to help us. Let's go ahead. So you can have access to this particular repository. I would share the QR code for the same in few moments. So feel free to clone it, and we should be good to go. So what would be happening here is like I have already cloned the repository for me. So maybe I'll just zoom it a bit, and that should be cool. And I will just walk you through to the repository. What we have is a dedicated script that allows you to go through the entire flow. Now, in this example, we haven't really focused heavily on the performance of the ML model, but we have focused on how simple or like a sample ML model can be trained that on the data set which is stored on Filecoin, and how that entire trained model can be stored back again on Filecoin. So the same 4 steps which we just discussed, and these are some of the models which would be requiring. So first things first, we need an API key for storing the data set as well as model on Lighthouse. So how we can get it? So you just need to navigate to the dashboard of Lighthouse, and when you check around with the dashboard, you will find a section for like API key. So I've already created an API. You just need to like let's say like I'll just go for XYZ, and you can generate a new API key. And once you generate that, the API code would be flashed over there, and you can just copy it and import it inside your code. So I don't need another API key, so I'm good to go. So let's discuss the flows and the various functions which are involved in this particular example. So first up, we have what we are going to do is we are going to create a sample data set. So there are various options you have. So what are the various options? The first option is either create your own like ecosystem to source the data. How you can do that would be one of the method would be like data DAO. Create your own data DAO. The DAO would be managing entire data set. What sort of like data needs to be stored, the decision making and everything. The entire workflow can be made via your own customized data DAO. Or else there are several data sets that are already hosted on Filecoin. You can leverage that. Or else like in this example, we are going to create a random data set. So we have a code for that. Since we are going to play around with a patient's data, so we have collected around like thousands of patients who are like affected with diabetes. So we have gathered their data and we are actually generating the data on runtime. So that's all dummy data for you, but you can always play around with real data and build an authentic ML model. So that's the first part. The second part is like how you can onboard the data on Filecoin. So onboarding the data on Filecoin is as easy as a single line of code. That's pretty much it. So it's that easy. So we are using Lighthouse. So we have created a Lighthouse client right there on top. So the client is ready with the API key in place. The next part would be to upload the data, right? So now that the data set is created, we have the file path ready. You can leverage this function to pass on the file path and you should be good to go. Similarly, we have a couple of functions to upload the model and model information to Lighthouse. And the second last function we have is like downloading from Lighthouse. Once like we have a data hosted on Filecoin via Lighthouse storage, so you can always download that inside the code to play around with and perform further operations or like provide training based on the data set, and you should be good to go. So this is another function wherein we are just requesting the gateway URL for like Lighthouse. So the gateway URL goes like this, and all you need to provide is the CID, that is nothing but the content identifier of your particular data. Cool. So once like you are done with that, the last portion is now entirely focused on the machine learning part, wherein you would be actually training your model. Now that you have fetched the like data set which is stored on Lighthouse storage, next up you all you need to do is like read it in the form of like CSV. So since like in my case the data was in CSV format, it might be in another format. It might be a set of images or it might be a JSON data, depending upon the method you are storing the data or the data set how it was stored. It might vary. So since I have stored it or created it in form of like CSV, I would be reading the data first, and next up I like put it to training. So I'm using here like a random forest algorithm to do that. So we will be training the entire ML model based on random forest classifier. So all the parameters of like training the ML model goes inside this particular function, which is responsible to train the data. So once like your data is trained, the next step would be to put the or upload the trained model back on Filecoin. So how do we do that? Now, since all this like functions we have like created, let me just revise it once for you. So it would be like creating a sample data set. It would be either creating or it would be sourcing the data set for training your ML model. Then the next function is like uploading to Lighthouse and then downloading from Lighthouse, and lastly training the model. Perfect. Okay. So now we have the functions to, we are calling it inside the main function. And lastly, like I will just go here, like we would be downloading the model from Lighthouse, and that is we would be fetching the model which is hosted on Lighthouse there. and we would be actually querying the model. So this is the sample. Let's say that we are trying to query a patient's data based on the ML model which we have trained, whether he's affected with diabetes or not. So we would be like providing the inputs for that particular patient, and now our ML model is expected to show its magic. So and like here, like we have showcased like how the what are the predictions which were predicted by the ML model. Perfect. So that was a quick walkthrough. That was pretty quick, but like I will just go back to the repository. If you want to grasp like what exactly this particular piece of code does, head towards the readme file, and that would help you guide along and explain like what exactly this particular code does and what are the steps that were taken or considered during the collection of the data set, then training of the ML model, and then hosting the ML model, and finally querying back again. So you can just refer the repository back again. So it's time for action. So I will just quickly try to run the demo. So that is, we are running the model training demo.py file. So let's see. So first steps is like it creates a sample diabetes prediction data set. Let me just zoom it a bit more, and that should be perfect. So now our data set is created successfully. In your case, it won't be creating of the data set, but it would be dealing with an actual data. So like we discussed, it can be via DataDAO, or you host it in your own like methodology. Then like once we have the data in place, it's time to host it on Filecoin, so that it brings a transparency. Let's say like there are two ML models which does the same job of detecting whether I'm affected with diabetes or not. So how do I select that which ML model should I consider, A or B? So now that I have the data set on which the ML model number 2, that is ML model B, was trained, I can have a look that, okay, this is an authentic like data set, and it was trained on heavily accurate data set. So I would prefer B model over A. So that's how the transparency of data set helps the user in choosing the perfect model or the perfect AI agent which is built on top of it to interact with. Now that the second step of uploading the dataset to Lighthouse storage is done, you can, the function is to fetch the Lighthouse storage. So that means download from Lighthouse storage, and now you can access the dataset using this CID as well. So if you just query it on your browser, it would download the file for you. So it's as simple as that. Coming back to our terminal, we have another step wherein we train the model. So at the moment, the model is trained with the accuracy of 0.47, which might not be that good, but definitely with more accuracy and more robust training method, you should have a better accuracy for your ML model. Now that the ML model is trained, it would generate a new file, the trained model file, and now it's time to upload that on Lighthouse storage. So it has uploaded with this particular CID, and you should be able to see it on your dashboard as well. So we have model info, we have job file, which is actually the ML model which we have, and lastly we have the CSV file, that is nothing but the dataset which we used to train this particular ML model. Okay. Now that being done, now next up, like we are uploading the model info to Lighthouse storage, as in like what does the ML model done, the metadata related to the particular model. And then now that our ML model, our data set, both are hosted on Filecoin via Lighthouse storage, it's time to like interact with it. How do we interact with it is covered in the process of querying the model, wherein like we have provided a sample input, wherein like in JSON format. So you can see, you can actually play around with the parameters, which I will just quickly go back to the code, and yeah, exactly, this is where like you can update and play around with this and see like how well your model is performing. Cool. So it says that not diabetic is 0.55 chances, and diabetic is like 0.45 chances. So it's on the boundary. That's the result which we have got. So that's how exactly how like Filecoin can play a role in the ecosystem of like AI ML and training of the ML models on the very architectural level is what this demo was meant to send message to you all. Coming back now, we have furthermore stuff to discuss, like just to repeat the entire flow what we have covered. So we uploaded a custom data set on Filecoin. So instead of uploading like a random data set, we have couple of options over here. Like the first one is data DAO. So for example, like Dallin is one of the data DAO example which you can consider, which you can actually go visit the particular platform and see like how it's rewarding the user for sharing the data, and how it's storing or preserving the data using DAO mechanism. Or the second option would be public hosted data sets. So that should be another way wherein like you can see like there are like different data sets present over here. Like there's Spotify songs, AI generated prompts, then music data, sentiment data, and whatnot. So feel free to go and check out like datasets.filecoin.io, and you can use that in your product while training your models and then playing around with it. So now once that your data sets are like uploaded on Filecoin, next up would be training the deep neural network. So our ML model would be getting trained over there. Once your model is trained, it's now time to upload it on Filecoin. Okay. So now once the model as well as data set is on Filecoin, last step would be querying the model. That's as simple as that. So no complexity, or no need to actually change the entire flow of how the traditionally the ML model was changed. But now with Filecoin, we are trying to make it the entire process more and more transparent, as well as more and more secure. So that's like how we did it. So great job us, like this is what exactly we did, and it was as easy as that. So you might have got a sense like how exactly during the next 4 weeks you can play around with Filecoin and like play around with the existing ML models, as well as creating your own. So if you want to continue build on top of this particular example, feel free to scan this QR code. It would take you to the GitHub repository. And if not, like Phil Builders is the username for the GitHub organization, you can always pull around with the repository right there. Also, as like Rebecca mentioned, you should find that in the hacker resources added soon. And if you want to be a part of like Field Builders community, which is a closed group of builders who are working together to build some awesome solutions, get continuous guidance during the hackathon, as well as beyond the hackathon throughout the year. So this is going to be your place wherein you might want to jump in and come say hi to us, and you would find awesome like fellow developers in this particular Telegram channel. So that was a quick demonstration of how you can leverage Filecoin as a storage solution, and that would be acting as the data layer for Filecoin. Thank you.
Hi, Rishikesh. Thanks for giving the introduction. For the Phil Builders Telegram, the link is expired. Would you be able to share a new link in chat? And also, someone missed the GitHub link, but if you can share that with me, I can add it into the hacker pack so everyone can access that straight away as well. We did have a couple of questions in the chat whilst you were live, so let me just go back through and try and find them. So someone asked, how can I access the Hackathon's Discord? That's for me. I've sent a link to the Encode Club Discord. Make sure when you join that you select the AI Blueprint Hackathon role so that you're in the channel with all the mentoring. So the link is in chat, but it's also in your pack. So if you miss it now, you can still get it. Aaron asked, for a good project, should the training be done on-chain or can we do it locally? what tools could we use for distributed compute in training?
Like Patrick mentioned, that there are other solutions as well, like for Ether, which can be used for like distributed compute. But again, like you can always like have it on chain with some mechanism. That's a challenge, like which you can think about, in the flow, which we just demonstrated as of today. So we like focused heavily on storing the data sets which are used for like training of AI agent models. So that brings an extra transparency. So you can, that's just one part of it, but definitely distributed computing would give it an extra level. So you can definitely think over that.
Cool. So yeah, as Aaron suggested, a project that might help. Hal has asked, will it cost us money to store our data on Filecoin during the hackathon?
No, that should be completely free of cost. All the three on-ramp service providers, Lighthouse, Akave, and Storaja, they do provide like some buffer for you before that gets like paid. So you can always store the data on like for free using them as service providers.
Okay, awesome. That's good to know. Ahmed asked, which project offers decentralized stream processing with Filecoin?
So for like live peer is one which you can use, but definitely like if you want to have like live streaming solution, you can think maybe create your own one. That would be the ideal choice. But there are definitely like solutions like live peer who offers the solutions, so you can check them out.
Cool. And there is actually a live here AI live video AI bootcamp happening at Encode Club right now. So if you're interested in doing something with decentralized streaming, and it's on top of Filecoin as well, then I definitely suggest you join up and participate in that as well, because there's some learning opportunity there. I think that's all the questions. So yeah, Rishikesh has shared the Telegram link in chat for anyone who is going to join now, and also the GitHub. Thank you very much for that. We'll also put these links in the hacker pack, so don't worry about missing them now, and you can come back to them later. Thank you very much, Rishikesh, for joining. We have a week full of workshops. So if you found this one useful and you're interested in building on another bounty, definitely come along to those ones as well. They're going to be really, really good for getting started. The first workshops are tomorrow, starting at the same time as the launch event started today. And you can find the schedule as it's updated in the hacker pack. So keep checking in on that, and make sure you know what's happening. And we will see you all very soon. Thanks for joining us, everyone, for the launch today, and I can't wait to see what you guys end up starting to build. I will see you tomorrow.